Hey everyone, I have thoughts. Today was a particularly rough morning because basically decided to give up something that has been a source of joy in the past, but more and more is becoming a source of needless stress. That thing is Discord. I'm gonna try and keep it brief because I don't want to bother people with my personal problems. So maybe ignore the next 5 minutes if you're like watching this in the future and just don't want to hear it. But basically, I get pinged to a discussion. I answer. It goes in a little bit of a back and forth because basically I said that the statement that the board gave yesterday, contains lies. And this is something I said yesterday too. Except, like, I brought it up again because, again, I was pinged, right? And the one board member that actually engages on Discord doesn't like that I said that, the statement has lies in it. It's been dismissive both times, said that I was being unkind, not constructive, stuff like that. And it's like, I'm not personally saying you're lying, but, I'm also not gonna weaken my words. Like, I think it's more insulting the way certain people seem to think is the better alternative, where it's like, from my perspective, I think you aren't telling the truth. Like, I feel like that's the rude thing to say. Because, I'm not, yeah. But then it just escalated from there. I had people telling me to calm down, repeatedly say I was uncivil, and got upset when I was like, no, I wasn't uncivil. And then I had someone literally swear at me, say that it's bullshit and it's rich that I talk about censorship, and just find it really annoying. Because, like, one of the mods was literally like, if there's a double standard, talk about it. And I'm like, are you seeing this discussion? But it's clear that I annoy people by talking too much. It's clear that people on Discord do not appreciate me for who I am. They like singling me out. And I have concerns about this from an echo chamber and even a healthy debate way. I mean, for the annoying thing, like, annoying isn't a crime. Some people perceive as annoying, other people perceive as important. Like, I am not intentionally trying to annoy people, even if I realize that it does have that effect on some people, that, I won't just, stand down to keep the peace, but I also won't, be needlessly insulting. Like, when I've seen people insult people, I've always called it out, either side, and it's just frustrating to never have the same grace when I am literally being less problematic and not swearing and not dismissing people and not all these other things. But it's very upsetting to kind of get into these cycles, and I mean, after today, I have to decide enough is enough, right? Like, yeah. So, that's that. Some other important updates is I've been thinking that since the one time the board actually proposed reforms, they were very out of touch and actively made the problem worse, and they're not good at accepting open feedback. That it's probably best if I try and draft a list of different resolutions, make them all petitions and stuff, because the current petition about voluntarily recognizing the union seems to be going somewhere, even if it's being completely ignored, and it's good to have something to point to, right? Like a specific list of grievances, and I mean, it's funny because when you're specific, it's just your opinion, and when you give generalizations, you're not being specific enough. So it kind of feels like, no matter what you do, it's not going to be okay. But being specific, especially publicly, is a lot harder to ignore. So, yeah. I know that, even though it feels like I am part of a, outlier, am an outlier on Discord when it comes to voicing certain things. In other contexts, I am not an outlier, which is another reason it concerns me that you're basically required to be active on Discord to have, I brought this up at Wikipedia itself, and it was like, it shouldn't be that hard to communicate on Wiki, but people don't. And it's just, it's hard. It feels sometimes like the entire process is designed to just be a complete maze, to not hold people accountable for their actions or lack of thereof, and all these other things, right? And I was bringing up the whole list of reforms and some ideas I had about this on another person's talk page this morning. One of the things I brought up was the code of conduct of the Wikimedia Foundation Board of Trustees. And, a lot of it is fairly normal, but there are bits of it that are really not. And the bits that aren't are concerning, because it prevents the board from talking to the public or asking questions of employees. Like, you're not supposed to publicly dissent, and it's weird. Yeah. And it's another one of those things where whenever you question it, people are like, legal duty. But if you actually dig, it's like, no, you're not legally required to do this. And actually, this is really unusual for boards. Let me quote that other person. By the way, that code of conduct is wild. I cannot find another example of a code of conduct that prevents the board from talking to the public or asking questions of employees. Most are silent on the subject or say the opposite, requiring open and effective communication, requiring employees to keep the board properly informed and the board to keep itself properly informed. Antidotes aren't evidence. In the 20 years of serving on and advising for-profit and non-profit boards in the US, I've never before seen one like it. It looks like a code written by a CEO that doesn't want the board to interfere with the staff at all, which is the opposite of the oversight the board should be providing. And I think it's at the root of the historical ineffectiveness of the board. It needs to be rewritten into a normal one. My cat's meowing in the background. Somebody's car alarm's going off. It's really an interesting time to try and do this. In regards to everything I was talking about before, it's like, I've never told anybody to calm down. I have never questioned their emotional state. I've never implied that they're being irrational. I've never sweared at people. I have never done all these things that people consistently do to me, and it's just, I'm done, you know? Like, I've taken breaks before, but it just doesn't solve the problem. And I mean, like, if I seem to be aggravating people with my presence, and I'm frustrated because they aren't going to listen, then, I mean, what's the point, really? I should be trying to do other things that actually matter and people appreciate, like this YouTube channel, the stuff I do on Wiki, focusing on my personal projects, stuff like that. Doesn't mean I have to give up, but I do wish that that place was less frustrating, because I don't think it has to be that way. Like, I think there are ways to compromise and make some people happier. Like, we could have had like a specific thread for board discussions. I mean, where else would you go other than the meta channel for discussing stuff that is meta? It's not like this was, oh, this is where people post pictures of their cat, Fred. But like, maybe it could have been a more specific thread. People that just don't like me could always block me. I mean, I know one person did do that after I suggested it like a few weeks ago, because they just found it annoying how much I talked. So here's another thing that's happened since Jimmy's talk page is continuing to be a lively place. We have this one section called No Union Busting. And somebody says, it's fine and dandy to ask the Board of Trustees to try and stop union busting. And then framework is heavily stacked against workers. And then somebody else is like, well, they just pass a board resolution. And yeah, just don't hire union busting consultants and law firms. I mean, it's not the hardest thing to do. And yeah. Less expensive and better for morale to just acknowledge the union. So let's talk about the response from the Board of Trustees to the petition. It doesn't address anybody's actual concerns, and it's just repeating the same talking points that we've heard from Jimmy, that we've heard from the CEO. It says, the Wikimedia Foundation Board of Trustees has heard the calls from community members regarding voluntary union recognition at the Wikimedia Foundation. We want to acknowledge the care and commitment to movement values behind these calls, but we're going to ignore them. The board does not manage the foundation's day-to-day work, including employment decisions. But they do have a responsibility as a board to get involved when there are crises. Our role is to provide oversight and long-term direction, which voluntary recognition of a union would be. We support the foundation's decision to ask for a secret ballot vote. It's very interesting that they're talking about foundation management like they are, completely, like they don't have any control as a board. The literal board of the foundation when it comes to foundation decisions. Like, these two ideas are not completely inseparable. And when it comes to power dynamics, you can overrule management in that way if you truly wanted to. This is not a rejection of a union. It's classic union busting tactic, especially when you're refusing to answer why third-party verification isn't enough. It is a commitment to ensuring that every eligible staff member can make their own decision freely, privately, and democratically. Again, not addressing any of the concerns about how they're following every union busting thing. It's just like, what's with the captive audience meetings? What's with the internal anti-union rhetoric? We're not going to address any of that. We're just going to vaguely say that some people felt pressured to join the union, and that's why we need to stall and do the thing where we won't recognize the union until we're legally forced to. And that makes a fair private process especially important. The process that already existed is fair and private. And saying that you have to do this other thing to have it be fair and private is sending a very clear message. Everyone deserves the right to express their views without pressure and intimidation from anyone. And the Foundation does not live up to its values in that sense. Foundation leadership has a responsibility to protect the rights of all staff, regardless of a staff member's views on unionization. A secret ballot is the fairest way to ensure every employee has a choice in this decision. Again, you're implying that people have not already spoken, and you're, questioning the integrity of the process itself. Everyone having a voice reflects Wikimedia values, and we would hope that all members of the Wikimedia community share this view. AKA, if you disagree with us, we think you're not sharing the movement's values. It's pretty messed up, in my opinion. So, I'm happy to see that people are pushing back on it and not accepting it. I'm dismayed that the board does not realize how out of touch it's being, is just repeating the same tired talking points and not contributing anything new. And not answering any people's questions. Just, here's the statement where we repeat things, hope you accept it, and time to leave. Anyways, that's what I have to contribute to the discussion for today. Maybe later this week I'll get into what happened at Wikimania, how disappointing it was, and other things, but it's nice to have the space to vent and to feel like it's actually going somewhere that matters instead of people ignoring you or telling you to stop talking.